Hi, it's Colleen. I read chapter 3 and 4, and basically, I just want to give my intake on it. So, in chapter 3, they talk about structural assumptions, um, and it's right what they said. Organizations work best when rationality prevails over personal agendas. And I totally agree with that because lots of times in organizations, business um, and rules get turned upside down by people's personal feelings. So when you have personal feelings involved, you don't really get, you know, a great work environment because there sometimes bosses or managers don't think about um, a person's problem clearly because they're going off their feelings. So I totally agree with that. And especially what they said when performance suffers from structural flaws, the preferred remedy is problem solving, um, which is true. You have to have a strategy in solving problems when you work for an organization. Um, as far as plan, pattern, position, play, all those come into play when it when you're dealing with organizations and finding the best way to handle problems. Um, and they also talk about vertical coordination as well as lateral coordination. And these two have to actually, I'm saying, be in line for everything to flow properly. Because I feel like when organizations have problems in in the work environment and how things are ran, everything gets basically goes haywire. So they have to have policies, procedures, and handle how to do stuff when things go awry. And just like they talked about, designing a structure that works. Every organization is different, and every organization has to find out exactly what works for them and how they can basically um, implement strategies to um, find out how things can run smoothly. Um, and like they said, there's in the book, it says there's no one best way to organize, which is true. One thing might work in a certain situation, and the next thing might not work in another situation. So basically, just finding out what works best for the organization on a whole, because through the years, stuff is going to change. Um, people are going to basically come to the organization. So you hire new people all the time. So it just depends on the time, actually, um, as far as, you know, through the years, keeping up with technology and keeping up with everything that makes an organization run um, in the present. Something that might work 5 years ago might not work today in an organization. So you just have to keep up on everything that's going on. Um, you have to think about the whole environment and what runs good with the environment. Um, and also keep up, especially if you have new customers. Um, like I work in a hospital, so based on how other hospitals are run, we're kind of a little bit behind with stuff. So we're just trying to get up to date with everything, um, as far as like a NYU or something like that. Um, and they have problems too, but just as far as like technology and how things are structured, because before we were one hospital and now we're basically combined, we merge with other two hospitals. So just to basically keep up with technology and find out how we want to structure things, um, is, what I see a lot of people in the organization having problems with. And in chapter 4, they basically talk about reorganizing. Just like I said, since we merged, us reorganizing and finding out um, what works with our the 3 hospitals now compared to just us being solo. Um, so that's, basically a thing that we have to look into and find out how to how to best come up with a plan to make sure everything runs smoothly. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight, but just as long as we're making progress for it to, the end result to be that. Um, and just like in chapter 4 said, structural dilemmas. Managers rarely face well defined problems, which is so true. It's always something, but there's always a twist in it. There's always something that's like, oh, you can't, quite figure out, or you can't quite basically pinpoint exactly how to solve the problem. So that's when you have other people to come in and bounce off ideas off of, and, you know, with any organization, Um, so it has to be, a team effort on both ends. And just like they talked about um, in chapter 4, um, key responsibilities are not clearly assigned. Um, Tasks fall through the cracks. Exactly. I mean, some managers are slack and basically stuff is not clearly outlined. So when stuff is not clearly outlined, people have too much time on their hands, or they don't know their specific job duty. You just have to be clear, on how you define people's roles in organizations and what they're responsible for, because not everybody is basically a take charge type person, you know what I mean, where you could leave them alone. Some people are like that, but some people are not. They need structural guidance to help them figure out things and figure out how to manage things um, that they can't do themselves. I mean, it's rare in organizations that you find somebody, and I won't say it's rare, but it's hard to find that person that takes charge and know their role. And I mean, anytime you hire somebody, it's always like you think, okay, this person is a good fit, but then sometimes it ends up not being a good fit, and then you have to get another person. So sometimes you have to go, and a lot of organizations, get lazy and they don't want to go through other people. So they'll just stick with somebody that they have. But, if that person can go train and, outside resources to help them be better at their job, then some managers take that approach too. But and I think sometimes in organizations, managers know who can basically operate by themselves and don't need to be on top of them all the time. So I think, that's key. Understanding your staff, is key to knowing what exactly, I'm saying, what exact role they play, because everybody's not going to be good at everything. You know what I mean? There's no way. One person, that's why they have a person assigned to this policies, a person that's a lawyer, in organizations, a person that's, everybody has different roles. So once the role is understood, basically they could, um, hopefully the right person, for the job will basically um, make it, you know, make the organization run smoothly, because they know how to do their position. Um, and they also talk about simple structure like mom and pop shop. that constantly monitoring what's going on. And it's true, mom and pop shops are constantly on top of stuff because it's like um, they don't have a big organization, to do stuff for them. It's basically they have to basically do everything on their own. So they know how to run stuff. That's why a lot of these, restaurants and even businesses, I'm saying, that's been in the neighborhood for like, 50 years or something. Because they do everything themselves and they know what's needed. I mean, it could be a good and a bad thing, but just learning what um, they need and what makes their business run, effectively. That's why some businesses stay in business for a year and other business stay in business for 50 years. You know what I mean? Because they know what it takes to make their business run. Um, um, so, once basically everything's aligned in business, I feel like, you know, just like they talk about, um, it's it's basically easy. It's easier. You know what I'm saying? I mean, organizations, they're big. Like I work for a hospital, so it's big. So there's a lot of moving parts. So basically, and a lot of people that know what, I'm saying, they have to do. I mean, sometimes, what I'm saying, I mean, we've been around for a long time. So, with the merge, a lot of people got cut or whatever the case may be. And it's also people keeping up with the times. You know what I mean? If you have a nurse for 50 years, that's basically, that knows, what they're supposed to do and know how to handle the patient and everything versus a nurse that's only been doing it for a year or somebody just coming out of school. Not saying that you don't give them a chance, but it's just, you know, um, a lot of these young kids today don't want to learn either. You know what I mean? In my opinion, So basically, just um, handling, things right to make organizations run. You know what I mean? And know where the loopholes are, so you'll basically find a solution to them. And solutions don't happen overnight. They take time to basically um, happen, because sometimes you think, okay, yeah, we'll do this, and then that fails, and you think, oh, you'll do that, and that fails. So just to basically find the right solution um, that works for what's going on with the situation. Basically, that's all it boils down to at the end of the day. Um, I mean, every organization has problems. Every business have problems, but it's how you handle the problems in the end that makes you, you know, stay in business. How you treat people, it's the, customers, you know what I mean, are your biggest, you know, they're the guiding light to everything, your organization. So whether it's the hospital, because what happens is if you don't treat people good at the hospital, what do? Write reviews, and people read the reviews if they're going to the hospital for the first time, and then it's like a trickle effect. Nobody wants to come to the hospital. You know what I mean? That's why you got to keep putting out, things and um, basically, getting good reviews. Not every review is going to be good, but at least, you know what I mean, having uh, a decent review, you know what I mean? So people could be like, okay, this person didn't like it, but not everybody's gonna like stuff, so you just have to, you just have to keep steady. That's what it is too, you know what I mean? Because nowadays there's so much technology out there, everything's on video, you know what I mean? Everything is recorded, you know what I'm saying? Everything is, so we have such a big social media outlet with everything. So, when I was growing up, it was nothing like that, you know what I mean? So it's like nowadays everything is, basically so out there, and from what's going on in, just on a day-to-day basis. I mean, a lot of these young kids put everything on video, post everything on social media, and it just gets blown out of proportion sometimes. But getting back to everything, it's like, once you have a good structure, I'm saying, your business is going to run. It doesn't take, I'm saying, it takes, a village, you know what I mean? But once you find something that's going to, you say, hey, you know what I mean? Okay, this didn't work. Let me try this, you know what I mean? And find something that works for you. Because just because one person is doing something doesn't mean you have to do it, in organizations and mom and pop stores and in everything. So that's my take on chapter 3 and 4. Okay, thank you.